Cop Chat. You've got questions for the police? They're here to give you the answers on WEFM 99.9.
Something is wrong with the human race. Preacher man say it's wonders and signs. We are living in the end of times. Where is the love we once used to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Each and every morning, it's weeping and mourning. We've got to stop all the crimes, erase the violence, let our voice be heard. We can't sit in silence. The hope of tomorrow is in our use today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
And it's time for us to bring to you today's Cop Chat program. And today's Cop Chat, we will be talking to several persons of the SVG Coastguard. And I think today's the day. Today's the day?
Yesterday.
It was yesterday? Okay, all right. So Fortified and Strong celebrating the SVG Coastguard service and their contribution to national security. All right, so in studio, we have, all right, let me get it in order. So we have Miss Delisha Delpa. She's a leading seaman at the SVG Coastguard, as well as Mr. Kenlet Francis, a sub-lieutenant, and Mr. Romario Delicia, leading seaman as well. So good morning to you and welcome to today's Cop Chat program.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How y'all feeling? Why y'all looking like nervous?
I'm a bit tired.
Yeah?
From
work
from
or-
election, from election.
I've had a long dive session yesterday. So
So maybe we'll get into that. All right. But how does it feel to be a part of the Coast Guard and knowing that the Coast Guard is celebrating 45 years?
Well, good morning, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Good morning to my Coast Guard family. It's a pleasure to be here and online. I'm proud to be a Coast Guard member. For me, it's the best thing that I've been into, except being a Christian. It's good to be in the Coast Guard.
Why did you join though? What made you join?
Well, I joined it as the St. Vincent Police Force. I was attached to traffic department, and then I was transferred to the Coast Guard in 1999.
That's a while ago.
Yes, it's a place that I didn't want to go.
Okay.
I developed a passion for traffic, but when I was told I'm going to Coast Guard, I didn't want to go, even though I'm from Barley. But when I joined the Coast Guard, I just get to love Coast Guard, and I don't want to leave Coast Guard.
You see how God is directing us in places we don't want to go?
That definitely.
Okay. Now what about you?
For me, Coast Guard is a very brilliant place to work. It is very dynamic. It exposes you to a lot of training. Initially, I didn't have any thoughts of joining the Coast Guard. I used to be a trade marketer for St. Vincent Brewery. And the day I went to deliver some drinks up at cruise ship wharf, and I saw the vessel docked there, and I was like, boy, these guys look so professional. And I really loved the blue uniform.
Oh, wow.
Yes, the blue uniform caught me. And I was like, and I go home and talk to my mother. I was like, have interest in the Coast Guard. And she was like, well, if you're interested in that, I will support you fully. And made application. And the process started. I actually joined in 2019. So next year I'll be celebrating 7 years in the service. I'm very proud that I picked that decision to join the Coast Guard. I've been exposed to a lot, and I've been given the privilege to be stationed on the Captain Hugh Mulzac SVG 01 On that ship, it is very dynamic. We do a lot for the country and our regional counterpart. As you know, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Coast Guard is part of the regional security system, which is a 8-member state. And also we give support to our regional partners, whether it be St. Lucia, Barbados, Grenada, Dominica, Antigua, St. Kitts, Nevis, Guyana. So we have a very good relationship with these other islands in terms of information sharing and distribution.
So that's the only department you work?
Yeah, I'm attached to the operations department of the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard has many other departments, whether it be mechanical, electrical, administrative.
Okay.
Okay.
And Alicia, the lone female amongst the men, how long have you been in the Coast Guard, and what caused you to join, especially as a woman?
I also I'm doing 7 years. I initially did not want to be
Speaking to the mic a bit.
I initially did not want to be in the police force per se. Also being from Barley, the fishing industry, fishing area. My dad is a fisherman. I grew up diving and free diving basically and swimming and stuff. So I saw Coast Guard as a place where I could feel at home, something that I am used to, an area where, there's a saying, if you do something you love, you don't work a day in your life.
Correct.
That is basically me doing that.
Okay.
I initially started as an auxiliary. I joined the Coast Guard in April, All Fool's Day.
Okay.
April, All Fool's Day. So I was an auxiliary for a few months, and I officially joined the system on the 19th of December 2019.
Okay.
I started off in the operations department for my first few years, and I was transferred over to the administrative department. But I haven't limited myself to the administrative field of things. I'm also a medic, a diver, a rescue swimmer, and a lifeguard. I am 1 out of 2 of the only lifeguard and rescue swimmers instructors in the Coast Guard. And I officially completed my advanced PADI open water dive training 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I'm very versed and I love what I do.
Okay, so regards to the lifeguard, the diving, the medic, etc., you got this training as a result of joining the Coast Guard?
Yes. And I recently completed a senior advanced course in the United States in Pensacola, Florida. In September, I graduated as the lone female Coast Guard officer who would have done that training.
Congrats to you, darling. All right, so let's take a little step back. We're talking Coast Guard, right? And Romaro, you mentioned that the Coast Guard does a lot for the country.
Yes.
For those who don't know, what exactly do the Coast Guard do? What are the services offered? What exactly do you do in terms of being of benefit to St. Vincent and the Grenadines? And well, you did mention regionally as well, so you could probably expand into that too.
Okay, so for example, right, we do a lot of medevac, which is medical evacuation. So there's St. Vincent and the Grenadines, right? There's Beckwith and the Grenadines. We have bases. Our main base is actually at Calico. We have a sub base in Beckwith and in Cannon. Right. So if there's any medical evacuation from Beckwith, we have a base there, a station with a vessel, so we can evacuate person with immediate effect. Depending on whether injury, where you're suffering, we give that assistance to the public. Search and rescue. Now, this search and rescue right? It's something we always trying to put more training into, and it's something that we take very serious. Our operation center is a 24-hour system. At any given time, you can call the Coast Guard, you will get a response, whether it be telephone or radio, right? Issues that we normally have, right, is persons not reaching out to the Coast Guard immediately. Now, something may happen, person may go live or post on Facebook. We do not recommend that. Call the Coast Guard immediately so we can be informed, so we can action whatever information come to us in a timely fashion. We have a system in place where we have persons on standby just to react to whatever situation might develop. We have that in place. We have a lot of standard operating procedure, whether it might be hurricane, storm. We have these things down pack. The commander, Mr. Dan Henry, he has sorted out a lot of those issues where he's a man of standard and he likes to see things done properly. Right? So before a lot of issues might arise, we actually have a lot of things in place to combat whatever issue might have. Right? We provide also a lot of logistics support, especially on holidays regarding mainland and in the Grenadines, whether it be transportation and so forth, regarding maybe government workers or even civilians. Right? We do assist in that. We have the youth summer program development, where we normally have conduct 2 phases starting from around the 14th of July.
Okay. But there's, I think, something else that another service that you provide to the nation.
Well, we provide a lot of services. The Coast Guard is a service-oriented organization within the police force. So search and rescue is one. Another thing that we do that other people don't know is we go into the community and we educate the fisher folk on their operation at sea. When they go up there, what to do, what not to do. In terms of life vests and the equipment to take to sea and whatever. Also, we give back to the poor. We have the Coast Guard food basket, where we would choose a community and we go into that community and we share a gift box or bucket with food items for the elderly or persons who in need of it. We also assist persons. For example, persons normally call the Coast Guard and say, "Officer, I have a problem." And once they call the Coast Guard, the phone might ring once or twice. If it rings 3 times, it's because the watchkeeper who is on duty is on another call. And we would inform the person who is working that there's a situation where even it's on the land, and we would assist persons there, whether they have a plumbing problem or electrical problems, because we have different discipline in the Coast Guard. There are plumbers, there are electrical, there are mechanicals, and stuff like that. So we assist the public in different ways. We also go into the schools and we educate the children in school about the duties of the Coast Guard and what not to do and what to do. And in terms of being a statesman, in terms of being a well-rounded and disciplined young person that is not a nuisance to the society, but an asset, a person who the society can look up to. The Coast Guard provide this kind of information as well. And training, persons would leave the technical college or other areas and come to the Coast Guard for internship, where we, the Coast Guard members, would educate them and mentor them and shape them into the person to go back to their institution. And some of them even join the Coast Guard after. So we provide a number of service. And as well, we must say, thanks to the Coast Guard commander, the present one. The others have done the same, but the present one was trying to put things in place so that there will be no loophole. There will be no space that when something happens, we don't know what to do. If something happen now, like for example, if there's a fire at sea, we know what to do. If there's a search and rescue, we know what to do. We have guidelines. We have operations. So when something happens, there are things in place already. So we just follow it.
Okay.
So you guys do training for anybody? It's just like the college and so forth?
Anybody.
Anybody.
All right.
Yeah. What has happened as well? We recently joined up with the TVET, where some of our Coast Guard officers are instructors. Another thing we do, we allow the schools. Sometimes we would have visits from the primary schools, the secondary schools, the preschools, and also the college coming in, and we give them a rundown of what is being done in the Coast Guard and how it works and all these things. Another thing we do also is we give support to the churches. And besides allowing the schools to come to us, we go to the schools also to give assistance in terms of helping them with the gardening, the paint, community services. We do
Okay.
community services as well. So today we would be assisting the church, the Anglican church,
Calico.
with the Calico Anglican church with repainting their building inside and also refurbishing their parking lot, put on a chain and all that. So we do community services, actually go out and assist the churches and the schools and the other persons in the area.
Okay, so is this a case where persons can make that request, or this is an initiative on your part?
They can make that request, but it is also an initiative for us
Okay.
as a community outreach. I mean, we are well community oriented. So it's not just giving services on a professional level to the country, but also assisting the persons in the area, the churches, the schools, and wherever else we're able to assist, we will do that.
Okay.
Well, one thing to note is that with the Coast Guard, we do not turn back anybody. Coast Guard, we have a welcoming presence. Anybody come to the Coast Guard is welcome. If they have a complaint that we cannot deal with in terms of with the police, we will interview the person and then direct them to the police, which is on the other side. I'll tell them where to go. So we welcome persons to the Coast Guard.
Okay. All right. One of the things I don't think that I heard, if you did say it and it slipped me, my apologies, but border security. What is your role in terms of protecting our borders?
No, that is a given. Like I said before, that we have a crew on standby. We also have things in place where we do patrols. I want to say time when, but patrols are being done. That is why we have the sub bases to complement us. So for Beckway has its own unit. I will normally do their patrols, same as Canawan, and also the Myro patrol. We have that in place as well.
Curious question. So if you see a boat on the waters, right, to you it looks suspicious. I know normally before you can do a search, you have to have is it warrant you call it?
No.
In your case, what is the procedure? If you see something suspicious on the water, do you have that legal right to just go on board a vessel and to search it?
As long as the vessel is in the water of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Coast Guard officers has the legal right to board any vessel within our waters.
Okay.
There are some limitations when it comes to certain vessels in terms of diplomatic vessels and military vessels. That's different. But once you're in our waters, we can board. There's something that you call you're boarding on suspicion. So and then you have the person fill out a boarding form and all of that. So there's something that you call sighting. You see a vessel and it's not suspicious, and there's a form you fill out that you say, it's a sighting form. So you fill that's form out. Boarding vessel. If you board in a vessel, you fill the form out. You see you board the vessel, and so yeah.
So I must say that because St. Vincent is so big in terms of open ports, we cannot patrol all of the ports, but know that Coast Guard are always patrolling because it's our responsibility for border security. So we are always patrolling. We are always gathering information, intelligence. That's why my colleague there spoke about the farms. You have farms, you have boarding farms, you have sighting farms. So if, for example, we go to an area where we would see a vessel and we would just take down the name of the vessel, if there's a vessel, the color, and which flag is flying and stuff like that, and then we document it. And then patrol again and we will see if the same vessel is there. So we are like gathering information, building a profile.
Okay. Have y'all ever been outrun by another vessel though? Because
I believe that Sub-Lieutenant Francis will give that.
Patrolling is one of my best thing that for me in the Coast Guard.
Okay.
And I can't remember that we've been outrun before by any vessel. Maybe it happened before I joined.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would tell you with the Coast Guard is that we are determined. So if a vessel is going, we will go after that vessel until we catch it. So I can't remember if we were ever outrun.
Okay, good.
What may happen is if they're in our waters and they decide to flee out of our waters, there are procedures before you can follow that vessel within another territorial water.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Interesting stuff. Okay. Delisha, let me ask you a couple of questions. In terms of being a woman joining the Coast Guard, was it an easy decision for you?
It was. It was. I have always been on the, I wouldn't say on the masculine side, but I'm a determined person. Like I said, I grew up being around my dad, being a fisherman. I did free diving for years without using the tank. And I did swimming. I've been swimming since I'm a baby. Literally, we learned to swim by being thrown off the jetty. So, you know, you grow up rough. I grew up around guys, mostly guys. And being that person, it gave me a drive to being in that field. And I like to show myself to say, like, you know, I can show you that I can do it too. So it's a male-dominated field, but I am as good as you when it comes to a lot of things. And I have not allowed that to deter me from going forward and doing whatever it is. I always say, if you can do it, I can do it. I'll even better.
Okay. And so I'm happy to hear of your love of swimming, your love of diving. Because we know that for many Vincentians, we live on an island, but majority of us can't swim. I want to really believe the majority of us can't swim, right? What are some of the challenges that you encounter, especially in that part of the lifeguarding and the medic parts of your duties? What are some of the challenges that you face whenever, let's say, there's a search and rescue or you get called out?
I have not been called out I haven't been called out. Lifeguard and rescue swimming is something that we haven't had for a while. Like I said, 5 of us are qualified now, certified lifeguard and rescue swimmers. We haven't had that in the Coast Guard before. Though we have our quick response team where you have divers. We've had our divers for years and so on. So now we have improved our services by having these training. Now we have more divers, right? So the challenges now are limited. For me, I would not say it has been a challenge. I cannot say for the divers who are before me, but we have curbed and we have brought a lot of training into place to curb that challenge and make sure that we can give our services exclusively to our country.
Okay. So, Kendra, because you are the more senior one here, what has your experience been with this whole aspect of search and rescue, lifeguarding, etc.? Talk to us as frankly as you possibly can.
Right. So I'm not in the lifeguard section, but I've done a lot of patrols where I've involved a lot of maritime security, drug interdiction, search and rescue, medical evacuation. The experience for me is good and bad in that you go out there to, like, say, search and rescue, and the person who reported the matter is telling you, I'm under the cloud. So you out there looking for the person.
Is that serious?
That is a serious thing.
Under the cloud?
under the clouds.
Or
So
they
look
might
for
say
the
under
cloud.
the moon.
Under the moon. Or like that. So you're out there looking for the person, and they will take you hours. And not to say it's like on the land where you can let go your hands. You have to be holding one on the boat. Or maybe if you're driving the boat, because the water may be rough, you may get seasick. Because some of us will at times get seasick. We might vomit at times because of the seawater condition. So it does be rough out there. But when you get to the place where you have the right information from the person in distress, you would go directly and find them. And that brings joy, because one of our joys when we rescue persons in distress, or if we are called to go on a medevac operation where you have to go to Union Island to bring up a patient. I've done that so many times. I've went to Grenada to take patient there and to bring up patient from Grenada, and bringing them back safely to St. Vincent, so that the ambulance at the cruise ship board can take, with the nurse, can take them to the general hospital, bring joys to the Coast Guard. So these are some of the things that bring joy. And for me is being in the Coast Guard and interacting with the Coast Guard members. I've met a lot of people. A lot of them left. New one comes in, and we have a good working relationship. We have persons that we can sit down with and discuss past events to present and going on to the future. We would have our ups and downs, but I say that Coast Guard is a disciplined place and very professional. The way we dress, the way we interact with others would only tell you. And being there for 26 years, it's a joy to me, to be a member of the Coast Guard. I just reached the rank of sub-lieutenant, which is equivalent to inspector in the General Police Force. I thought I should have reached further, but God have his time. And I've taught a lot of persons things. I've took a lot of persons to sea and teach them whatever I know in terms of patrols and boarding experience and stuff like that. Writing statements. When I came over from the police, there was one time I was the only person there, taking statements and stuff. And I taught other persons to take statements. And so for me, the experience in the Coast Guard is a good one. And if I have to do it all over again, I will join the Coast Guard rather than go to traffic. Yes. There's a lot of opportunities in the Coast Guard. I've benefited from a lot of opportunities, training. There was a time I was the coordinator for the Youth Development Summer Program, and that went well. I was in charge one time of we had a base in Barley, which you call it West Coast, and we have one in Beckway. I was in charge of Beckway and West Coast at the same time. So the responsibilities they laid on me was welcoming. And I think I performed in the best way that I could, to develop these areas.
Okay. All right. So we're a little pressed for time. So we're going to open the phone lines if anybody wishes to call, 457-9997. But when you call, you have to make your question as brief as possible. All right. So we're going to allow persons that opportunity for the next 10 minutes or so. Okay. Curious question. How often do you already white? You white? Because I only see it on military parade. Yeah.
The whites are for official duties.
Yeah.
Okay.
So military parade and official duties. That's when we wear all whites. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have what we call the number 1, the number 2, and so on and so forth.
We have C-rigs as well.
C-rigs and digital. We're just we should be wearing our digital soon.
Okay.
But these are number 1 uniforms. So this is what we wear on a daily.
Okay. I always like to see the white at the military parade, but all right. What advice do you have for us as sea bathers, Delisha? And I suppose what advice do you have to the fisher folk, or even those who love excursions, love a nice time, and don't know how to swim, right? Going on these boats, etc. So maybe
right. Being a swimming instructor, I teach swimming as well.
Okay.
I would advise my students or my clients that when you go to the sea, if you can't swim, swim on the sand. Not literally, but swim on the sand. One thing I've learned and I've also taught is eating before going in the water. No matter how strong of a swimmer you are, it's not a good thing to go into the water to swim with a full stomach, because when you're swimming, your body compresses, the water compresses your body, and all the organs in your body just goes together. Your stomach is one thing that presses, and once your stomach is full, that food comes back up. And if you're experiencing any type of difficulty, cramping and all of that could cause issues, and you drown, all that food is gonna choke you. Sometimes even if you decide to do resuscitation on somebody, if that food is stuck there, it's gonna be difficult for you to save that person. So I advise persons not to swim on a full stomach. As much as a good swimmer you are as well, alcohol can have a great impact on your swimming ability. You may think you can go as far as you're used to being intoxicated. It's not wise to do that. I would advise persons to desist from doing that as well. If you're on an excursion and you're feeling sick, you try to stay at least in the middle of the vessel, or have somebody that you know that is competent enough to be there next to you. Have a buddy, we would call it when we're swimming or diving together. Have a buddy. Also, we advise the fisher folks, try your best to have life vests on your vessels. Flares. Those are important things that you should try to get. Radios. We know the radios are expensive, and you can't always wait on the government to assist you with everything, or the Coast Guard to give
And
you
by
everything.
radios, you mean the VHS
So
radios?
the VHF radios.
VHF, right.
Try and have VHF radios on your vessels. Make sure you have life vests. Sometimes we see persons on excursions and you have the boats are filled to capacity, and then you do not have enough life jackets to carry the persons that you are taking with you. And we advise persons to desist from doing that, because we're talking about lives here, and not everybody could swim. You know, you have people that love to go on the boat, love a boat ride, always there, and they can't swim. So if anything should happen, what's going to happen? You as an individual as well, going on to these vessels, has to ensure that they have the proper equipment to take you on these trips. So we advise persons to do that. Be safe, do the right thing.
Okay.
Yeah, along the topic with safety, as long as there's an excursion, the Coast Guard will be informed.
Okay.
Normally, persons will check in with Maritime to get permission, but we also get the information of an excursion. What we like to portray out to the public, safety is the number one aspect we normally look at when it comes to any maritime activity. So if you know you're going on an excursion, check in with the captain, ensure that he has adequate life jackets on board. Because you might have an excursion where it might be 2,000 person, X amount, depending on the capacity of the vessel. Now, this is something we have difficulty in, right? To let it ensure that they have enough life jackets on board. Another issue we always have is proper communication device. We spoke about the VHF radar. For fisher folks, I want to believe there's a system in place where if you provide your fisherman ID to NTRC, the VHF radio will be discounted. Right, the normal price that they have, if you carry your fisherman ID, there's a discounted price. I'm not sure of the price.
Okay, say that again.
So for persons who has a fisherman ID, right, there's some VHF radio that are being sold by NTRC. Right, these ones are waterproof and it's float. So challenges persons normally have with the old radio is that if you drop it, it will sink. But the new one that NTRC provides, it normally floats. So there's a big win in our field, because you're not on a flat surface. You're always in a moving state. Whether your vessel is not moving, in the motion of moving forward or backwards because of the tide. The vessel is how it moves. So any little mishaps may happen. Right now with cell phone, although cell phone is a communication device, depending on how far you are from land, you cannot get signal. So if you cannot get signal, what other means of communication you have to reach us? So that is the challenge we have with persons not getting VHF radios for the vessel. Right? Depending on the voyage. Now you might decide, oh, I'm going on a speedboat just to Beckway. I'm not gonna walk with no food supply. I ain't have to put on a life jacket. That's a no-no. You never know what may happen. You might decide, hey, I'm just gonna go to Beckway. Let me just go on this boat here. You never know. There's engine failures. There's a lot of issues that might happen that that change your course of where you wanted to go and a longer period than which you wanted to spend. That's why we advise to have enough food on board, even if it's just a short trip. And next thing is telling your loved ones or communicating with somebody, hey, I'm going to sea this morning. I'm going to go out for this time. I will be back at such and such time. We advise civilians to communicate. If they're going to sea, tell a loved one, tell a friend. So in case a time pass and they haven't seen you, they will start with suspicion.
Okay. So we have one call. This is the only call we take for this program. Hi, Daniel. Morning.
Listen, good night, ladies, gentlemen. I have something to add. I hear one of the officers there speaking about waterproof radios and phone and going out at sea and thing. In my opinion, let me add something to that. Telephone is not the best thing out of sea. Telephone, because when you use a telephone, you're only speaking to one person. But when you use VHF radio, you speak into thousands, millions of people who could hear at one time. If you have a problem. And then you see this waterproof radio, I believe in it. I believe they always say radios is waterproof. But I have a waterproof radio. I think it was in 1993 or some on a ship, and it fall overboard for me. So at the same time I say, well, let me just leave it, then change my clothes and then go for it. By the time I go for it, I'm bring it back up and have it. That's what's here it. Because I feel the speaker itself is not waterproof.
Okay. It's how is it a 1990 radio, man?
1993, yeah. So these modern technology now, so you think this waterproof radio is better?
Yeah, it has been tested.
We believe it.
Okay then. Well, that's just my contribution.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Daniel.
So I just wanted to add that we often tell fishermen, especially, if you're out there and you have an issue, like you say you're gonna leave your place to go fishing 5:30, but by 6 o'clock you encounter a problem, call the Coast Guard. Coast Guard, and on the same radio, you're supposed to have coordinates, lat and long. Coast Guard, I am at this position. I have an engine problem. I'm just informing you. I'm trying to get it fixed. If I don't, I will call you back in the next 15 minutes. If you do that early, and I raise this point because years ago with the rock gutter situation, everybody know about that. The Coast Guard didn't know about it. It's 2 hours after the Coast Guard heard about the rock gutter situation because nobody called the Coast Guard. So sometimes people blame the Coast Guard and say, oh, Coast Guard know about this and haven't done anything. Persons are failing to call the Coast Guard.
I wonder if it's a case where people make the assumption that somebody else already called the Coast Guard. So maybe it's not for us to make the assumption,
Right.
even
Don't
if you get
assume.
flooded with the 100 calls of the same.
Right.
Don't assume.
Right.
We welcome you to call us. So if you go out and there's an issue, call the Coast
And
Guard.
we have 2 lines as well. We have 2 lines. So, well, on the main base that is, we have 2 lines. So there's 457, 4578, and there's 455, 4578. So we have the administrative line. So even if you call the operations line and you don't get that, then you can call the administrative line. We would assist and we would take that call into consideration as well. And also the bases, the sub bases, whichever one you call, you will get.
So the back is 4824578.
Okay. But to make it easier for most of us, because we're not necessarily going to remember these numbers. Not that we shouldn't, but we're probably not going to. If we call 911, would they 999? Would they patch us
So
through?
you would not directly get the Coast Guard through that number. Hence the reason we give out the numbers for Coast Guard. You would go directly to the police. Now that will be a longer process. If you call 999 now, they would have to call us to contact us to give us that information. So we advise that you call us directly.
Okay, so repeat the numbers. So
we also have WhatsApp. Our number, the main number is 74457458.
okay,
And that's our
I want
WhatsApp
to put
number
it
as
in my
well.
phone. So tell me now.
4574574578.
578. All right. So
And
I
that's
think
also the WhatsApp number.
okay.
What advice you guys will give to young people who want to join?
I want to tell them, if you want to join the Coast Guard, it's the best place to be, as if you want to build your career in whatever maritime or engineering or electrical. Just come to the Coast Guard, get an application form and apply. If you're in college, like say technical college, and would have done one of the technical subject, that even is a plus. You apply, and if you are called, you come in and you just be a disciplined person. You just follow instructions. Coast Guard is a disciplinary organization, and a person coming from civilian into paramilitary, we would expect that we would groom you into being a professional maritime person. So you would go through some, pushing and tugging and stuff like that. Don't be afraid to apply. It's a good place. It's a safe haven for me. It's a place where you would develop physically, socially, and not only that, but spiritually, because we have a spiritual aspect of the Coast Guard as well. Every Monday morning we have devotions. And if there's a small gathering anytime, we always start with prayer. So we believe that Jesus is the center of the Coast Guard, because we look to Jesus for everything. So you being a young person want to join the Coast Guard, just come and apply and just, wait the process until you're being called.
And how many persons make up your team?
We have
Approximately
119.
Okay.
We have 23 females. Yes, kudos to the females. We're doing a great job.
And I must say, when I joined the Coast Guard, I met one female and I went there with another. So there were 2 females.
Okay.
Yes, so currently we have 23 females. I am telling you, and we are doing really, really well. So we have 1 sub-lieutenant. We have 2 chief petty officers.
Yeah.
So we are doing well in upgrading ourselves
Raising ranks.
Yes, and raising the ranks. We have 3 petty officers, 3 leading seamen. We have now gone into taking more females. We're making space for them, and we're trying our best to push them and encourage them that even if it's a male-dominated field, there's a space also for you. Come, we have work to do. We have our children to guide. We still have the females there that we want to go out and share the good news of Coast Guard. We're not gonna push you away. Come, yes, just come.
And I suppose looking at you in terms of the training, etc., that you got, you are also an example of what you can accomplish by joining the Coast Guard.
I also encourage the females that discipline goes a long way. Sometimes people would say, females, I can't deal with females because they have too much attitude. Yes, that will never go away.
Keep the attitude, it comes in handy.
But when it comes to the work, when it comes to the job, you discipline yourself, you apply yourself. I always, and I encourage the females, do what is right and fear no man. If you have to speak, be respectful. We don't care who brought you there. As Sub-Lieutenant mentioned, it's a disciplinary organization, and discipline takes you a long way. As much as you might feel like, oh, I'm intelligent, I have a degree, I can do what I want. It's not like that. Your attitude determines your altitude. Do what is right, and there are great opportunities there. and just make the best of it. Make the best of it.
Good.
All right, that's gonna wrap things up. Any final thoughts?
Well, as I mentioned, that we have the Youth Development Summer Program. There's a number of persons who would have applied to the Coast Guard coming from the Youth Development Summer Program. There are a number of persons as well who went to the technical college with their skills in automotive art, electrical, and mechanical. So we're encouraging them because at this time we need technical persons in the Coast Guard. So my final thoughts. I want to thank the past and present commander of the Coast Guard and all the other officers, the junior ranks, for the work that we have been doing over the years. We have really shaped the life of a lot of people in St. Vincent and Grenadines. We have been providing mentorship, leadership, and security for St. Vincent and Grenadines, even though it's challenging at times. I want to say personally that I've grown and I've reached a long way, and it's not the end. And I just want to continue to give my best to St. Vincent and the Grenadines because this is a country that we have to build. And being part of the Coast Guard, we are doing our part in building the nation, providing the security the border security that is needed. We just need to do more and continue to do it. And with all of us, with God's help, we will.
Yeah, I want to say thank you guys for having us. It was a pleasure here. The ambience here is very beautiful. I must say, I love the view of the Camden Park and the kettles. It's beautiful here. You guys have a beautiful view. Hope you guys have a good day. Just want to encourage persons to please be safe. Practice the safety at sea. Communication device, life jackets, flashlight, whistle, some level of communication. Be safe, St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Okay, so as we celebrate our 45th anniversary, we have done a few activities, and as I mentioned today, we will be assisting the Anglican Church with their refurbishing. Tomorrow, what we have tomorrow?
Social.
So we have tomorrow is Friday, so we have we have our 45th anniversary social, and as I said before, to our females, I'm always rooting for our females. Don't be dismayed. Don't let anybody discourage you. The service is there for all, and as I said, for persons who cannot swim, I teach swimming. That's a skill we all can learn. It doesn't matter how old you are. Happy 45th anniversary to the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Coast Guard service. And we want to thank our past, present, and our future Coast Guard officers. And we continue to be a disciplinary organization and an example for persons in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I want to thank you so much. And of course, all the best for you guys' anniversary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.